find our man, Jordan Pugh. Mr. Pugh, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
So you and I were going back a little bit on text, and
Yep.
You're a big Connor guy. I think you're a big Marcel guy.
Yeah. Interesting, man. Well, first of all, let's go here. He played very well. I think that's the obvious statement of the year, right? The poise, the control in the pocket, man. Being able to make off-script plays, being able to manipulate the pocket to allow receivers to get open on scramble type situations. His feet, man. The one thing we talked about when they were heading into the Florida game is, I said that I felt like they've been holding back a little bit on the offense heading into SEC play. You saw them get more explosive, more vertical threats downfield, and you really saw him take command, man. He looked good. He looked real good. And I like the way the offense responded, but most importantly, I like the way the offense flowed. It flowed. It seemed seamless. It seemed natural. It seemed like he belonged in the offense. Now the coach hat on, if I put the coach hat on, the coach in me is like, well, it's a one-game sample size. The coach hat in me is he didn't win the job coming out of training camp. The coach hat in me is I know what Connor can do. So it's one of those things, man, where it's going to be interesting to see how they play this out because you can't deny what you saw on Saturday. Like it's undeniable. But also at the same time, you've seen Connor play well. You've seen him have his downs. The only thing that you've seen from Marcel is his ups right now. So it's an interesting facet, man. It's a good problem to have. I'd rather have a problem where my backup is playing extremely well. That's a good thing to have. So it'll be interesting to see, man, how they play this out.
Well, I said earlier in the show, and look, just my opinion of the situation is it's Connor's job right now, right? And if he can go this weekend, he's going to go, and he's hopefully going to light it up, right? And if he doesn't, well, Then you got Marcel. If he doesn't go, and Marcel lights it up again, then I think the conversation does have to change, right? Like, I don't like the idea of a quarterback losing his gig because of an injury, especially if we've seen mostly good. But if you win 2 in a row and you look good doing so, like look really good doing so, and then you kind of you owe it to the team to kind of ride it out for a little bit. Am I right?
Yes, you're exactly right. If I was Elko, this is what I would do. I would bench is not the right word. I would sit Connor. We're playing Bowling Green now. Of course, Bowling Green game, Penn State is scared. We know how that stuff goes. But you got to figure out what you have in Marcel. You have to. He earned the right to play in this game against Bowling Green. You know what Connor can do. You know what he possesses, man. You know what everybody around the country thinks. But you have to know without a shadow of a doubt what he can do with two games worth of sample size, right? I'm with you. I don't think you necessarily lose your job over an injury. But if the play is so good, the offense is flowing so well, the chemistry that you have as a team is all going in the right direction, man. It's hard to keep a guy like that off the field. The one thing that Marcel did, he opened people's eyes up to how dynamic this offense could be because we have yet to see it in the first 2 games until this past weekend. So right now, what we do know is we believe that Connor can do it. The one thing that we do know now is that Marcel has done it, and he's done it once so far. That's the dilemma that they're in right now. So, yes, I don't think you lose your job to an injury. But also, I think the play of your backup can take your job if an injury caused you to miss the opportunity to play.
Jordan, I know as a defensive-minded guy, you probably love smash mouth football on the offensive side too, right?
Yes.
And what the Aggies did to Florida,
yes.
A defense. Look, I know they're injured. I know they're not good. I get all that. That was still like we own the line of scrimmage. You don't. We own it.
Yes. How many rushing yards was it?
310, I think it was.
You said 3. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter after that point. Look, one of the things we talked about going into the game was the run game travel. You saw the run game take a step forward against McNeese, and you wanted to see the same thing follow into the road. You know that the conditions are going to be crazy. Now, I expected us to play well. I didn't expect us to flat out maul those guys like we did. And the shining moment and the one thing, man, when things go up, when things go down throughout the year, you have one thing that you can go back to throughout the season. You can turn that tape on. You can look at how long of a drive was it? Was it a 99, 97?
99 and a 92.
Boom. Those 2 drives, you can always go back and tell your team that's who we are. That was beautiful. That was a masterpiece. And, man, I think, the energy that we played with, man, the confidence that they played with. You saw the linemen cheering when they were moving the ball down the field. This is something that you can build upon because you can build anything you want to offensively off that running game. And when you have three backs that are dynamic, when you have your offensive line that are playing well and getting up to the second level on the backers and sometimes into the secondary, that's a beautiful thing with play actions, with the boost, with the waggles, opens up the passing game. Man, this is exciting. That was the one thing I was excited about the most watching the game, watching our offensive line dominate.
So, Jordan, I don't know if it's because I played too many video games growing up, but there was a part of me that was like, all right, now you can open it up with a pass because they know you're running. And OB was sitting next to me. He was like, no, they can't stop it. You keep doing it. And he was right. I was wrong. But there was in my mind, I was like, oh, you soften them up. Let's go over the top. No, let's just take our time and eat that clock and end this game now.
When I got drafted by the Carolina Panthers, my rookie year, my coach was John Fox. Okay. And we had two running backs with the Panthers, Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams. And John Fox used to walk into the meeting room every Monday. We would do our post-game rap and all that. Then he would say, we have two of the best running backs in the NFL. We are going to run the football until they show us that they can stop it. That's exactly what OB was saying, man. If you have something, man, where you're just flat out just killing them, kicking their butt up and down the field, keep doing it until they stop it. To your point, to be able to run the ball is to be able to open the pass, and you saw that too as well. Man, the one thing that I really liked about our offense, and really Marcel, he was the catalyst, I think, of the game. But, man, when you're running that rock and to be able to get one-on-one looks downfield and allow our receivers to win the one-on-one battles, which they did a great job this week, there's so many options and so many things you can do from a play calling standpoint. It is a beautiful thing when it operates at the right level, man. So I'm with you. You know, it opens up the pass game really well, but also the football player in me, the physical guy in me, man, pound that thing and beat him into submission.
Jordan, let's talk a little bit about the defense. And are people overreacting overall about taking your foot off the accelerator? Or, the defense just, it was a bend, don't break at the end of the game. So what was your assessment of the way secondary played overall, the way the defense played in the second half as opposed to their dominance in the first half?
Defense played well. Overall, as a unit, played well. Now, if I'm a coach, the coach of me harps on the second half of the game, as in kill all hope, right? You saw a team that was firmly in control. Yes, in my opinion, we laxed a little bit in that second half. We gave too many instances where the game could have got back in control of Florida's hands. But overall, as a defense, the first three games of the season, I thought we've been lights out. We played a great game against Notre Dame. We looked at the game against McNeese, and it translated over here to the Florida game. And our defense has been the unsung hero so far in the season, right? And that's something that you expect with what Elko brings to the table. Our front seven is starting to get their rhythm now, right? You're starting to see a lot of mix and match packages, coverages. You're seeing Scooby Williams starting to come into his own. You know what York has been doing, but our secondary with Will Lee, Bryce Anderson. For the life of me, these targeting penalties are killing me on defense. But you're seeing the defense starting to be more cohesive. The chemistry is there. And they're really upholding this team right now. And right now, the defense is the MVP 3 weeks into the season right now with what we've done, how we've limited offensive possessions. You look at what we did in the first half against Florida. I think we had 50 plays to their 15 or something like that. It was crazy when I heard that going into halftime. That has everything to do with the offense, but the same thing with the defense. The defense is getting them off the field. That's what you want. You want more possessions in your hand as an offensive player, but that coincides with the defense being elite.
So I'm looking at these stats from the first half. All right, here you go. I'll give you the exact stats. 20-0 is the score. Total yards, 302-73. Is that good?
Oh, yeah, I would say so. I would say so on a regular day. That's good. Yeah.
Rushing yards, 197-7. Is that good?
That's all right. Yeah, that's good. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Passing, 10 of 15, a touchdown, 105 yards to their 6 of 11, 66, and a pick. Which was the last play of the half?
Right. I mean, it sounds like a winning formula to me. Look, the defense, I'll say it again, the defense has been playing well all season up to this point. You look at what we've done, what we did against Notre Dame. I can't remember what the final score was. I think 16 points or something like that. You hold McNeese to 10, whatever that is. but overall, the defense is getting the ball back to the offense and creating more possessions. That's what you want. And they continue to get better each and every week. And that's fine if the defense is the unsung hero, but man, the defense is doing their job this season, and it's exciting to watch.
Are you not worried about the lack of sacks, like the big numbers of sacks? Because, Nick Scorton last year was amazing, and he still has plenty of time. And I think if I remember his stats last year early, it took a little while for his numbers to start coming. Mm-hmm. Overall, defensive line, they are getting to the quarterback. They are affecting the rhythm, but they're not getting the sacks and numbers, at least, that I was kind of hoping to see.
Yeah, you want the sack game, but you also want the pressures. The pressures coincide with the sacks. That's still a concern. If I'm looking at it from a defensive perspective, I still want to see more QBs on the ground from a D-line perspective. But also at the same time, they're still affecting the football game because they're creating an enormous amount of pressure, and that's what you want. Now, with that being said, the sacks will come. The more pressures you create, the more opportunities you have to get sacks. But yet the game plan is still the same with opposing offenses, how fast they're getting that ball out of their hands. When you look at what they did with Lagway, how they tried to move him more out of the pocket, more quick rhythm passes, more RPO looks to get the ball out. People are fully aware of what we have on the defensive line, and they are game planning against that. Now, that's working in our favor when it comes to total defense, when it comes to secondary, but it's not working in our favor when it comes to the sack.
Penalties were an issue. Too many penalties. Mm-hmm. And
yep.
The difference, though, is penalties, at least in this particular game, did not derail your chances to win. But still too much.
Right. Yeah, a lot of that, too, is early season. Now, a lot of them are bonehead penalties. You just can't make those, right? If you want to win the big games, if you're preparing to make the run that you want, you got to eliminate those type of penalties. But also at the same time, man, being able to overcome them are also big as well. That's one of those things you got to fine tune. You just got to drill in and hone in over and over and over again if you're a coach, right? To make sure that you're not shooting yourself in the foot, to make sure that you're continuing to preach discipline as a unit. But that's something that we can fix. Penalties are fixable. You can fix those things. And that's something that I'm not worried about, but you have to get that under control.
Yep, we're talking to Jordan Pugh here on the Boss Firearms Hotline. Let's talk a little bit about a theme that I had to start off the show. And tell me how you feel about this. I drank some maroon Kool-Aid after the win on the road, right? I'll admit it. It's fine. And I feel like moving forward, the expectation is, for me at least, the games that A&M should win, they'll win. I know it's not a fail-safe philosophy, but in years past, I thought they'd win, but I'd also think they'd find a way to, and I don't think that anymore. Like, sure, there's some tense moments in the Florida game, but I didn't really think they were going to lose ever, right? Like, I don't want them to get closer. But I feel like they've gotten to a point, like, if they should win, they're going to win.
Well, see, there's nothing wrong with having expectation. That's what you want. So, right. I mean, people kill me with that argument, man. You don't want to, do too much. You don't want to, have too many expectations. But, man, that's the nature of the game. That's what you came here for. That's what you're playing Power 5 football for in the SEC, is to have those expectations. And you should have the expectations with the talent that we have on the roster. Why would you not? Look, we're fully capable of winning any game that we play, man. And the games that we should win on paper, we should be able to dominate those matchups. To me, that's not an unreasonable expectation. To me, that's just what the standard is. So, with that argument, as a team, they have shown you what they are capable of. They have shown you what they can do. I expect to see that week in and week out. Yes, there's going to be down moments. Yes, there's going to be bad plays, all that. But they've shown you what they can do now. So now the expectation and the standard is set. The standard has always been set, but now you want them to stay at that level. So there's nothing wrong with that expectation.
A question came up on the YouTube chat, and I think it's a good one for you. B. Glow, who's a football coach, he says, we need to figure out who the nickel is. So now that Tyreek Chappelle is done for the year, unfortunately, and he's going to be able to redshirt, hopefully he can come back to A&M next year, or unless he tests the waters at the next level. But because of that situation and Coach Elko being so high on the way Chappelle was playing there at the nickel, what do you think they do?
I think they go with their 3 down front, more of a 3-3 stack look like they did against Florida. I think that defense fared very well and allowed our linebackers to be able to play in space and be able to rush. So you saw Scooby Williams affect the pocket a couple of times. You saw him make plays in the backfield when they went to that 3 down look. And with the 3 down look, you're able to switch and mix match coverages, right? You can play match man coverages, you can play zones, you can disguise very well. And they were talking about that on the broadcast a lot, especially in that second quarter, how we were mixing packages going into the 3-man look. I think that's what they're going to lean more towards. Look, the nickel position is a hard position to fill, and it's a hard position to find a good player in. Because it's one of those deals where you have to have a guy who can play the slot receiver, one of the hardest positions to cover. I know that I played nickel when I was at A&M, played nickel when I was in the NFL. You got to be able to cover a guy all over the field who has three options as a route. You got to be able to fill in the box and be a pseudo linebacker. You got to be physical in the run game. So it's one of those things where you got to find the right guy, enough speed, enough physicality, and who's willing to stick his head in on the run game. With the three-man look, with the stack look on defense, I think that fits them well with their personnel, and I think they can have a lot of success in that look.
Jordan, I'm going to read you these last couple of texts here on the TexAgs live chat, and I just want to get your thoughts on this. LG Aggie and then Ag Engineering 12, all kind of with a string of thoughts. Only 2 passes attempted in the second half, 1 for 73 yards. We didn't attempt a pass after the pick 6. So the final 16 minutes of the game, no passes. That's talking about taking the air out of the stadium, right?
Right. I mean, there's no need to pass when you're dominating the run like we did. Look, there is nothing sweeter than watching your O-line whoop somebody's D-line. People got to understand that, man. That's just maybe that's just a football player in me. But when you're physically dominating somebody, there's nothing better than that. Now, there was no need to run. You had such a big lead. You're trying to run the clock out. All right. Now, as much as we had success in the pass game, you're still taking a risk in that pass game, especially with a big lead. You don't want to give life back to them, especially at home. So that's good, man, to be able to run the ball like that, especially in the second half with a lead.
No doubt about it, man. Great to talk with you. And by the way, it's also great to talk to you knowing that the offensive line is probably a strength and an asset of the team.
It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing. Look, by the way, I'm working on coming down there. I know we talked about this. All right, I'm trying to get down there for the Missouri game.
Okay.
And I'm trying to get down there for the Texas game.
Okay. All right.
Now, I just found out we got a baby on the way. So
congratulations,
yes,
man.
I'm a little excited. I got my son. So I'm finally not the only man in the house.
All right. What a blessing, man.
So we got some things we got to work out. So I just figured I'd let, the Aggie world know that we got a little one on the way. And start getting them prepped on the maroon and white, man.
Hey, what a blessing. Praying for you. Love it. And I can't wait to see you here in studio because it's been too darn long, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, man. Look forward to it.
Talk to you soon. Jordan Pugh there on the Boss Firearms Hotline.